Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. I want to welcome you to Get to Know Bob, where I am your host, Dr. Sonia M. Weaver. Are you excited for another amazing conversation this evening? I know I am. I am looking forward to this conversation, and I am more excited about the impact that it might have to you for watching. I want to thank you to our viewers. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share this with others. I am excited about what you might learn from watching this show. And if you get a couple of nuggets, then I definitely want you to share it with others because sales. No one wants to be sold to. So that's not what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about some strategies, though, for you to close the deal. Tonight's show is actually titled Mastering the Art of Persuasion, Secrets to Closing the Deal. So, yes, make sure you grab you some pen and paper and get ready to take some notes. Now, before we get into our conversation, let me tell you about my busy weekend. Very busy. Now, if you watched last week's show, you know that we always have phenomenal events that we feature. Thank you to our core members. I had a little brain freeze. Our core members who sends us events or those who want to feature their event on our show. I had the pleasure of attending the Health is Wealth Detroit. Yes, Health is Wealth Detroit was a huge health event that happens in our city of Detroit. Now, I didn't know if I was going to go for sure. I'm going to be honest. Some phenomenal people I know were a part of it. But you know how sometimes you just keep going and you're just looking for an opportunity to rest? Well, that was me until I found out that my mother was part of an amazing panel entitled Black Women's Wellbeing, Who Heals the Healer? And yes, my mother was part of this phenomenal panel that began on Friday. And I just had to show you. Look at her take charge of the microphone when it was her turn. Doesn't she look quite comfortable? I thought she did a phenomenal job, but of course I'm a little biased. But yes, it was a phenomenal event. And if you see to the my far right, I'm not sure if it's on your right, but that is my mom, myself, and my brother. We are just so proud of the work she's doing. We want to continue to encourage her. Now, that was Friday. On Saturday, I attended the Storytelling Women Ignited series. This was amazing. Amazing. Dr. Heather Hetheru, Crystal L. Gunn, and Dr. Suzanne, OMG, they had an amazing event. The storyteller there, Miss Katrina, I believe. No, Christina. Miss Christina shared her story and how she overcome and is still overcoming. And then her mother, who was part of her caregiver, shared her story. Then a couple of people in the audience had an opportunity to share their story based on the exercise that we did. It was just an amazing event. Women and everybody, but I'm speaking now right to women, okay? You have a story to share. And when you share your story, you're not only getting healed, but your story can heal others. So yes, do not be ashamed of your story. Do not feel that you can't talk to others about your story. Your story has shaped you into the beautiful person you are, and others need to hear it. This is an amazing event, and it won't be the last. So next time it's on our platform and we tell you to make sure you register to go, take the time and register to go. That's all I'm going to say. You will not regret it. After I left that event, I went to the grand opening of Supreme Transitions. This was an amazing, beautiful space that is there for domestic violence and sexual violence for women to find safe haven of information and to feel that they have support. And it's right in the city of Detroit. The facility is beautiful, beautiful. And the staff, I mean, I'm at a loss for words. The staff is phenomenal. If you have meaningful, impactful events, workshops, seminars, they do collaborations, and they have a beautiful meeting space. So what does that mean? That means if you need to get your information out to people, you can collaborate with Supreme Transitions for a beautiful space in order to have your workshops, your seminars, and your information. So yes, this was a beautiful grand opening and a beautiful space. Make sure you check them out. Then on Sunday, and I needed this. On Sunday, I had sound therapy. I had an amazing sound bath at Bloom Transformation Center located in the city of Detroit. If you have never experienced sound therapy, I'm going to tell you, you need to experience it. It is tapping into your sound waves, your internal frequencies, where you have sound just surrounding you and you feeling the vibrations. It is like you feel yourself just in a restful state. If you struggle like I do with being still, shutting this off, not talking, not thinking, not being tense, you might not even realize you're tense. You might even clench your jaws. You may not even realize it. But when you're in this space, you will recognize that you're just tense and you need to just relax. And it's something about being in that space where you're truly able to relax. Next thing I know, my mind turned off. And then I just remember coming back to awareness. So I don't really know how long I was in that restful state, but I'm telling you, it was long enough for when I did come to and wake up that I felt rested. It's different than going to sleep and being rested. It's a difference from going to sleep and having rest. And I experienced rest while I was sleeping. So yes, if you have never had sound therapy or sound bath, I would definitely say look it up in your area. If you're here in the Metro Detroit area, you have a location right at 220 Iron Street in Detroit. But yes, take an opportunity to experience a sound bath. You will not regret it. It was well worth the time. So we are getting to that point in the show where we're going to be starting our conversation soon. But before we do so, I want to remind you, in case you forgot or you weren't here or whatever the case may be, I want you to go and watch last week's conversation with Terrence Quinn. That's attorney Terrence Quinn. And he's titled Preparing for Tomorrow Begins with the Actions of Today. Terrence, as you know, is a phenomenal attorney that does estate planning. And he would get all of your assets together and get all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted so that you will not have any worries about what happens when you're no longer here, or if you cannot make decisions for yourself because of an illness or something else. So make sure you check out that recording from last week. Now, before we get into our conversation on this week with the phenomenal Jason Integrity of Mastering the Art of Persuasion, Secrets to Closing the Deal, we're going to take a quick break as we recognize some of the events coming from our core members. We'll be right back.
Decompression session hosted by Sonia M. Weaver and Jason Integrity. Celebrate the wins, let go of the stress, vent, share, and encourage. Register today on Facebook or Alignable by searching for the BE Black Entrepreneurs Group. Meet BUF Connect, the Millennial Council, at the BUF Connect Mixer on Friday, August 23, 2024 from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Mix Bricktown, 641 Beaubien Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan, 48226. Cost is $20 per person. Proceeds go to BUF of Michigan Youth Empowerment Programs. Tickets are available at www.buffconnect.org. Come experience the stunning works of renowned artist Ted Ellis, a celebration of our rich heritage, vibrant community, and the power of art to bring us all together. When Friday, August 23rd, from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, August 24th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Where Operation Refuge, 27807, Carlisle Street, Inkster, Michigan. This is more than just a fundraiser, it's a moment to uplift our community, celebrate creativity, and connect with one another.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe button.
So we're back, and we have Mr. Jason Integrity with us. How are you, Jason?
I am fantastic. How about you?
I am doing well this evening. I cannot complain. I am even better because we get to have you back. The last time you were on the show, you were here of March 29, 2023. So a little over a year ago, but a lot has happened since then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies.
I know, right? So for those who may have missed that show, I'm still going to give you the opportunity to self-introduce. Please share who you are, some fun facts about you, what you do, and then why you do what you do.
All right. So I'm Jason Integrity. I own a company called Integrity Go, and I'm a sales strategist. What I do, I help my clients with their marketing and sales conversation. I don't want you out here trying to pitch and close people, but connect with the people that you started your business to help and solve the problem. And if we do that, you'll naturally attract the people into the conversation. And that's kind of the whole point of why you started your business. So it should be a part of your brand. You need to be authentic, have real conversations. Fun fact, I was in the Army and I was also a DJ.
Yeah, we revealed that last show.
Yeah. Oh, did we really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see the Army, but the mixing and the scratching, I didn't quite see.
I was dope too.
So, what motivated you to get started, or how did you get started going down the path of being a sales strategist and starting then Integrity Go?
So I've been in sales forever. I'm pushing a quarter century now, right? And it was just a talent at first, and then you really understood. I started to understand that it was more to it than trying to sell stuff. And let's find the problem and let's kind of get into it. And if we can solve the problem, we can get a customer. And I really started breaking down the science behind it. And it's like, well, this is a whole strategy, and it's different for every person. So how I sell it and how you sell it is two completely different things. Mm-hmm. And how you want to engage in that conversation and who we're having that conversation with is different. So you need a strategy to attract people into that conversation and have it. So I noticed that a lot of small business owners didn't know how to have these kind of conversations. And when I was meeting with my customers, when I was in corporate, I found myself coaching a lot. And it's like, why are you selling it that way? Who are you positioning this to? And why did you say it like that? And I started spending more and more time doing that with my customers. It's like, I should probably do this full time. and it evolved.
Yes, that tends to be like a natural progression to things. So those who don't know, around the time of Jason's last conversation here on Get to Know Bob, we talked a little bit after that show. And it was kind of interesting because from the perspective of what Jason does and the work that he does and the work that I do, one of the questions he asked me is, okay, so what's going on? What's preventing you from moving forward and or potentially working with me or someone else to get that to the next level? And I really shared with him, I had no time. I literally, with my responsibilities for corporate America and then filling in my businesses as I could with what was remaining, I had no time. to really dedicate what will be needed to do that type of work. And lo and behold, lo and behold, God gave me time. And because I was removed from corporate America. Was it within, like, was it that week?
Yeah, it was like a week later after that conversation.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I the next call that I made after sharing information with my husband was to Jason. And it was like, okay, so how do I close these deals? Which is some of the conversation we're going to have, because you don't know. Here's what I want you want. I don't want to speak for you. So I'm going to ask you this question. For your company, Integrity Go, your core mission, and how do you serve the community? From my experience, what I would say is that you really help people hone in to who they are first, and understanding their own internal gifts and how they operate and function, but then how they can cohesively, like, structure everything that they're doing so they understand that, and then do whatever that purpose is or service is or product is for the community or for those customers who are seeking them. Now that's how I see it, just from the short time of working with you.
Yeah.
How would you say your core, or what your core mission is, and then how do you serve the community?
Yeah. So let me brag on you real quick before we get into that. So it was a week after that conversation, and then you called me and was like, all right, let's get it going. It was a week after that you had your first client. So we got it cracking pretty quick. It was super dope. Super dope.
Yes, it was. And it was a little I can't even think the word, because I was like, so what do I do? What do I do? So it was like when you're in new territory and you haven't prepared. So sometimes things move quicker than you're actually ready, and you have to, like, catch up to it sometimes. And sometimes you're ready and then you're waiting for the people to find you. It's just really interesting, this roller coaster, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, I think the key is, and you touched on it, is you have to be you first, right? You got to be authentic. You are already dope. We don't have to go and make up stuff and try to brand and market you, and then we got to convince people to buy. And I think that's probably the biggest misconception of sales. I need you to be you first, because I need you to relax in this process and just talk to people. The skill and ability that you already have, you're going to ask questions that no one else is asking. And in that process, people will start to understand what it is that you do and how you can help them, because you're going to talk to them very specifically about a problem that they have. Once you identify the problems, now here's how we solve the problem. So I'm simplifying it. There's a lot of stuff that we got to do within there, but that's the gist of it, is connecting with people in a very genuine way so that they understand that I'm here to help you. I'm not just trying to take your money, and as we have this conversation, I'm going to uncover things about you and your business that you didn't know, or about whatever it is, the service that you provide. You're going to ask questions that they hadn't thought about. And this is what separates you from everybody else. And in asking these questions, it'll start to make sense to them. Like, oh, I need some help. I can't. It's easier to work with you than for me to figure this out by myself. And then now you can move to the next step of that customer journey. So the whole point is to put everybody that I can touch in the position to win. So how can you best represent yourself? How can you naturally attract the people who need you into this conversation? And then now it's just a conversation and a conversion and turning them into customers. And if you do that in a natural and genuine way, it's very easy for you to get more and more clientele.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I definitely do. Now we're going to take a quick break before we proceed into the next segment. But as we go into the break, when we get back, I just want you to share with people what joy you find yourself in the work that you do. Okay? So we'll be right back.
Bags Packing Party, Saturday, August 24th at 11 a.m. at Miss Eva's Detroit, 19566 Grand River, Detroit, Michigan. Come for fun and fellowship as we pack the bags for distribution and doing our part to end period poverty. Register today. Save the date. Trueness of the Words, Mother's Healing and Forgiveness Brunch. Exclusively for mothers and adult daughters. It is time to heal and forgive ourselves for what we just didn't know. Saturday, August 24th from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Location 6600 Allen Road, Allen Park, Michigan. Costs $42 per person. Visit the website for more information.
The Braid Gallery, Back to School, Backpack School Supplies Giveaway. Saturday, August 24th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 10606 West 7 Mile Road, Detroit, Michigan 48221. Come for games, prizes and refreshments. If you have questions, contact 313-340-9515.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe.
And we're back. Okay. So the work in which you do, Jason, where do you find the joy in it?
The best part of this whole thing to me is when the light bulb comes on, and my clients, they have that epiphany, like, oh, this is not as hard as I thought it was. I can actually do this. and from there, it's not only can I do it, but I got a whole strategy as to how to do it. And I got all of these fail safes to where if I get stuck, I can come back to this, and I got support, and I'm not in this by myself, so just that overall confidence that my clients get is that's the joy.
I love that. And it is a light bulb moment that goes off. And for me, it sometimes, like Jason say, I'm the one with 50,000 businesses, but he's also the one who helped me see that I don't have 50,000 business. I have one business, and in that business, I reach people in a lot of different ways. And I have a tendency to want to meet people at their needs or how they learn or how they process information. And that's how I was trained in corporate coaching. Okay, because you have a variety. I had over 52 direct reports at one time. All of them learn differently. Now, some learn similarly, but they have to be, introduce the same material a different way, because at the end, the outcome is the same, right? You want them all successful. They have to meet the goals. And so when I'm working with individuals, it's the same thing. The way in which you attain the information may be different than someone else, but the end goal for me is for you to walk in your purpose and achieve the goals that you desire. So with that being said, I may have more of a workshop curriculum, and I'm focusing on, Black businesses and helping them achieve their purpose and their goals, and it's delivered one kind of way. Or, I may impact in our youth so that they can start having businesses is delivered another kind of way. One-on-one coaching, workshops, all of this is still me coaching to get people to recognize their purpose, their passion, and to get to their desired goals. So for a lot of people, it can look like I'm doing too much, which is a misconception they have because it's just under the umbrella of me coaching. So Jason, for you, what are some misconceptions people might have about you and or the work that you do?
Oh, that I teach people how to lie. A lot of people think selling is a lot of like misinformation and handling people and convincing them and persuading them and manipulating. And it's like, no, it's not any of those things if you're doing it right.
Wow. Okay. So when we talk about mastering the art of persuasion, so in a lot of people's opinion, that's learning how to lie then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So if you had to actually take that first part of the title, how would you then describe it so that we get this right?
So it's a great question. So you have to deliver information in a way that the person that you're talking to can understand it, in a way that they can absorb it. So it's not about me trying to tell you something or convince you of something. It's me giving you the information so you can say, oh, I see what you're saying. And then now you can ask questions or you can make a decision. So if I'm talking to you in the way that I'm saying it and in the way that I'm accustomed to just talking, I don't know if you are absorbing it or not. But if I want you to understand it, I have to say it in a way that you can understand. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, you have people who are introverted, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm extroverted, so I can't show up with a whole lot of energy. When I'm speaking to somebody that's introverted, I scare them. It's like, dude, slow that down some, you know? And then they can't even hear anything that I'm saying because I already got them like this. So they're not even listening until I can get them in a safe space. You know, so that's just one nuance of it, right? So you got personality types, you got emotional intelligence, right? You got if they're a driver, if they're super analytical. So you have to consider all of these things that's in the audience. So when you're having a one-on-one conversation, is a lot easier because now you can kind of read the person that you're talking to and then give them the information in a way that they can absorb it. So if they're asking questions and they're engaged in the conversation, you're doing it right. If they're looking at you kind of sideways, then you're just talking. And if you're just talking, nobody's following because it's just a lot of noise at that point. And now you got to try to convince, and now you got to try to do some of these bait and switch things and all these crazy tactics to convince them. But if you're having a real conversation and you care if the person is absorbing the information you're trying to give them, then it's a natural process. It'll close on its own.
I love that. So really, the persuasion is not from us at all. Mm-hmm. The persuasion is going to come from that individual because they're just going to take whatever you're saying in that conversation, whatever information that you're presenting. And if it resonates to a need that they have or a problem that they have, then they're going to just self-persuade. How about that? To say, yes, you are the one that I want to work with to solve and or address this problem. And if it's not you, that doesn't mean that you have not persuaded them to identify that the problem exists, and then they still seek out a solution to resolve it. So it's really a conversation.
Yeah, that's all it is. And the goal is to be prepared for the conversation. We can go in any direction that you want to go in. You being the person that I'm having this conversation with. So whatever level they want to meet on, be able to meet them at that level. It's no different. All the ladies who are watching can identify with this. You've had a man approach you in a way that you didn't want to be approached. Baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl, baby girl. And it's like, that's not the conversation for me, right?
Right.
You know, now that works on some women, right? They like that part, but it's not going to work. So now we play in the numbers, so it's like 80-20. Only 20% of women will answer to
like that. Yeah, baby girl.
Right. But if you walk up, hey, how you doing? I'm Jason. And then now let's have a conversation. Then now I'm giving you the information in a way that you can absorb it, as opposed to me saying, hey, I got a Benz and I play in the NBA and I'm throwing all this stuff at you, right? that I think you would find attractive. It's no different than having a sales conversation. But so people will show up and they got the bells and whistles and here's everything that my company can do. Or they'll hit your inbox and especially on LinkedIn, they'll send you a dissertation of this weird pitch, right? And it's like, this is everything all at once. No, I don't want to talk to you. But if you can introduce yourself and have a real conversation, let me show you that I'm a real person. Let me show you that I see you as a real person and not just somebody that's on my call list. Now we can have a conversation and we can see if it aligns.
You know, I like that analogy that you gave with baby girl, baby girl. So what we're going to do is that we do have to take a break to recognize the core members for this segment and then the upcoming segment and the events that are happening. But when we come back, I want to talk about then the closing of the deal. Because I do think we talked about, that how we come into the beginning of the conversation and how we, approach with authenticity and just having a conversation that meets that person at their needs. But when we come back, we have this phenomenal conversation. How do we go from there? Well, how do we end it? What do we do in order to get the follow-up? So we'll be right back.
Back to School Extravaganza. Backpack giveaway sponsored by BUF of Michigan. Don't miss a day filled with fun. Sunday, August 25th, 2024, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the DSLA campus, 21605 West 7 Mile Road, Detroit. All are welcome to attend.
Journey through healing. Tranquility Christian Counseling Group Session, growing stronger through shared stories and support. Sunday, August 25th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 24100 Southfield Road, Southfield, Michigan, Suite 320H. Register today.
Second Annual Azal Benny Lockett Foundation Prayer Breakfast, Saturday, September 7th, 2024, beginning at 10 a.m. at Wayne County Community College District Northwest Campus, 8200 West Outer Drive, Detroit, Michigan. Tickets are $75 and $100 for VIP.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe.
We're back. And before we answer that question, I just want to thank all those who are watching live. We appreciate your support. And for those who are watching on the replay, thank you. Make sure you share with others. So, Jason, how do we close this phenomenal conversation? You know, hello, I'm Jason. How are you? And we're starting this conversation. We've been engaged. We've been talking. So now it's like, okay, deuces. And is that it?
Right. So, you know, the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? Begin with the end in mind. So before we start the conversation, I already know what I want to have happen, right? And that is to set up the next step of the customer journey. So if I need you to fill out a form, if I need you to go to the website, if I need to book a one-on-one appointment, I already know that that's where I'm going with it. Right. If it's time to sign a contract, I already know that that's where we're going with it. So I should have a contract ready. Right. So wherever you are in this process, you need to know what's next before you start talking. You need to know the next 5 steps, quite honestly. Okay. So now in doing that, you walk into it, you know, you're ready for this fight. You got all the ammunition in the world. So now I can jump into it and I can have this conversation because I already know where it's going. And I can spend however much time within this to get you to the point to where you're ready to take the next step. So it's not about me trying to close it. It's you affirming that you're ready to go to the next step. So same thing, baby girl, right? You're not going to get to the next step. The next step was to try to get a phone number, bro. What are you doing? Right. So now you got to approach, you know, in a way that prompts the conversation and makes and incentivizes the lady to want to exchange information with you, if that's the next step. But you have people, just like in sales, you try to get the whole relationship today. You want to get married. You just met her. You want to get married tomorrow. Like you got to allow the customer journey. You got to allow the conversation to mature. You got to actually build a relationship. So you're not going to go from meeting a stranger today at a networking event to them signing a contract this afternoon. Mm-hmm. Is it possible? Yes, but it's a whole lot of things that'll go wrong if you push it that far. So the goal is to just move to the next step of the customer journey. And people will let you know when they're ready because they'll start asking, so what's the next step of this? So how much is all this going to cost? They'll start asking questions that say, okay, we've handled this part of the customer journey. We're ready to go to the next thing. All right, now let me tell you the next part. And let me be conscious to deliver it in a way that you can absorb it. Because a lot of people, the second that they start talking about money, they go for clothes. Like, all right, here, I got 10 options for you. You can go through all of these. And it's like relax.
It's kind of like, woo. Again, that just now sounds like, hey, baby girl again. When you start doing that, yeah. And all of that work seemed like it just goes, woo,
and you blew it. You blew it right at the end. You lost the deal right at the end because you tried to rush it. You know, people will let you know when they're ready. People will let you know when they understand. It is your job to give them what they need to go to the next step. And if you're thinking that way, you won't rush the process. Some people are super analytical. They need some stuff to read. They need a website to go to. They need to see all your 800 reviews. They're going to actually read the reviews. So it doesn't matter what you say. They have to go through that process. You know, the same thing in dating. There are women that they finna check your credit, right? They finna do your background check, see if you got anything pending, how many kids you got, are you secretly married? They gonna go and check you out. Who do they know that you know, so they can get some referrals, right? Before they move to the next step. It's the same thing. It's the same process, just done in a different way. And you got a different agenda, of course. But if you understand what you want to have happen next, the only thing you have to do is nurture that person to get to the next step. And because I already know the next 4 steps after that, let me give you the next thing so you can make a decision. And now I'm professionally helping you make a decision that's going to benefit you in your business or you in your life. I'm on your team. I want you to win. And I need to convey that within the conversation. And if I do that, customer.
I love it. I love it. There was a couple of things in which you said that I was actually thinking about. And so it eased right into my next question, which was going to be people use a lot today, either my team, my tribe, my people, my group, so we find ourselves in these different areas of connection within a group of people, whether it's a prayer group or if it's just, sorority or something. You find ourselves in these groups upon which we have a certain relationship and a certain level of trust and respect from within that group. What I found to be very advantageous is when someone that you trust tells you you need to work with this person, or you got this issue, I have someone that I need to connect you with. And it seems like everything that you just said that happens one-on-one, without that, some of those steps are automatically handled just on the strength of the relationship that person has with that other individual who connected you. Tell us more about then that piece of importance when it comes to your business or sales and strategy, that kind of thing. The importance of not being a solo, but to actually build smaller networks of relationships, and how that can be of an advantage to you.
Oh, absolutely. We are all in the relationship business, right? So you need to be connecting with people all the time. People should be saying dope things about you when you're not around. There are a lot of conversations. You can't be everywhere, but your tribe can be, right? Somebody that you know is in places that you don't. And then if you happen to be friends with Dr. Sonia over here, she know half of the world. She know all of Detroit. So through extension, you get to be in some rooms that you otherwise wouldn't be in. So that's super important. So we have to earn trust in all of these relationships. And it is easier to earn trust when somebody vouches for you that has already earned that trust. So if you get a recommendation from somebody and they're close to the potential client and they already have this strong relationship, then you don't have to go in there and audition because, hey, you need to talk to Jason, he can help you. And it's like, oh, and then it's like, Dr. Sonia said that Jason is cool, so Jason is cool. So I don't have to go in there and say, let me tell you why I'm cool, right? And explain this whole thing, so I'm not starting from zero, but I'm not necessarily starting at like 90 either. You just got me in the door where they would take my call and I don't have to knock, right? They had, hey, I knew you was gonna call. Right. So through extension, you get to be in places that you otherwise wouldn't be. You get to be a part of conversations that you weren't there for. And then now here's an opportunity to do some business. Here's an opportunity to help somebody. Here's an opportunity to pick up a client, so then this is why it's important to stay ready, right? All right. So our Army stuff, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So now I already know my customer journey. I already got the steps laid out. I just need to have these conversations. So if Dr. Sonia pulls me into a conversation, I'm ready for that conversation right now. right? So it's like, hey, I need you to talk to the president. All right, let's go. I don't need a coat. Let's go.
I love it.
So that's when the preparation meets the opportunity, and that's what we call luck, right? But it's amazing how lucky you get when the more prepared you are. So when somebody can pull you into a conversation and you don't have to warm up, then now you can take advantage of these opportunities, because that's an alley-oop that somebody can throw you, and it's like that's easy work. Now let me show up and be myself and have this conversation. I don't have to try to fit into this room because I already have the relationship and they understand who I am. That's why they pull me in. So now I can just go have the conversation. It's super dope.
Yeah.
And the more people that are in your network that you have built real relationships with, the more you have these kind of conversations. And this is why it's so important. So when you're networking, to actually connect with people. So don't just exchange information and you do some weird one-on-one and then tell me what you do, I tell you what I do, and then now all of a sudden we're supposed to give each other referrals when I don't even know you like that, right?
Yeah.
So you got to dig deeper and have real conversations, find some commonality. And then now I understand what your core values are, and your core values sound a lot like my core values. And now we're a tribe. And now let me look out for you and let me pull you into these things, because having you in my network makes my network better. So I don't have a problem giving you referrals because I got a go-to person. Then, that's the equivalent. Like if you knew and we're friends with LeBron James, and LeBron James is your boy, and he has opportunities, right? And he, hey, Dr. Sai, I need you to come to this. And when you walk in with LeBron, they're gonna be like, who is she?
Right.
LeBron like that? That's crazy. And then vice versa, right? So when you talking to people and you say, let me call Bronny real quick and see what he say. And then they're like, I'm like that. So just through extension. So now his reputation and how people see him is now a part of you. So it works out. Everybody wins.
So this is a perfect lead, everything you said, to something that evolved between you and I since the last time you were here. Mm-hmm. And it kind of talks about and encompasses the whole idea of a community of people that you have grown relationship with and that you trust. And this is built on really a business network. So most of the people that are part of the decompression have a business, but we're not here talking about business. We are decompressing. So from my point of view, when we talked about this, yes, of course, like you said, when you come into it, the approach of what of getting the phone number, right? That was what you were saying. The bottom line is getting the number. For us, the bottom line is having a strong collective of businesses that support one another and that we can leverage in order to make huge impact collectively. So yes, but even though what we're doing during the conversations are decompressing. So for me, it's been amazing because we have taught people to celebrate the wins, right? We had to learn that. Wasn't it kind of interesting when we first started? It was foreign, like, are you winning? And like, I don't know. Did I win?
Yeah.
And so then we say, let go of the stress. I think people come in, if they stressed on Friday, they ready. They like, okay, let me tell y'all, they now know we have made that culture or event, right? Sharing about what's going over. And then we have encouraged each other. I mean, every single bullet point came over time, like you said, that relationship of getting to know people. And I'm just really proud of the fact that it's just taken on its kind of own life, and everybody understands what it's about, So share with me how you've been feeling as it pertains to the launch of this decompression session.
The whole thing is fantastic, right? And so we had the Black Entrepreneurs Group. And shout out to Jerry Wade was the one that was like, we need a space where we can just vent and we can just talk and we can just decompress. And I was like, all right, let's get on it, right? So what we do in this space on Fridays is you now are not in this fight by yourself. Mm-hmm. So you have so many. Everybody that's an entrepreneur has felt this way. You have people call you crazy. Why are you leaving a good job to go start a business? or why are you starting this particular business? Shouldn't you be doing this and this? You crazy. So you've been in this silo all this time while you're trying to build your business, and you don't have to be, because there's a whole bunch of people. They got the same kind of crazy as you, and they all got their dreams, and we chasing, right? So we're not waiting for it to happen. We're making it happen. And in the course of doing that, you're gonna hit some bumps in the road, right?
Right.
So here's a safe space where we can just have this conversation. And a lot of us, when we don't even know that we're winning, right? We just go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. So, and you got to slow it down sometimes. It's like, whoa. Did you hear what you just said? That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Did you have that going a year from now? No. Did you have that going last month, a week ago? No, this is great. Let's celebrate that. So now you got a bunch of people that's applauding and sharing with you. You know, more importantly, when you do take a loss, you got people that's going to pick you up, right? And now I got this phrase, every L is a W, right? So every loss turns into a win because we're going to learn a lesson from it. There is something to be learned in it, which is super dope. And it makes the loss worth having. Mm-hmm. Because now I know, I just feel the gap in my business. I just learned something that I didn't know, and I'm not going to fall for that again, right? So now you just got stronger. And now you get all of these different perspectives who chime in on it and say, yep, that happened to me. Yeah, that happened to me too. And here's how I handled it. And I didn't handle it that well, right? So now it's a conversation and everybody is a part of it. But most importantly, we all get to grow, and now you support it, right? And you're not getting judged for making mistakes. We actually encourage it.
I love it. And for those who are, again, watching live and or the replay, we just put in the chat the Black Entrepreneurs group, the link to the network. So make sure, if you are not part of it and you are a Black entrepreneur, then go ahead and click that link and come on and join us. We have amazing conversations, tips, encouragement, connections, business connections, so that we all grow collectively together. Now, Jason, before we move into the next segment, I'm going to leave you with one word: integrity. And when we come back, I want you to answer why. We'll be right back.
Save the date. Sneaker Ball, celebrating 19 years of service. UNITY's anniversary event will take place September 7th, 2024. This event will bring together supporters, volunteers, and youth who have been a part of the organization to celebrate the yearly service that has been provided for children and communities year after year. Looking for sponsor and donations, visit contact us at unitydetroit.org. Save the date. Western Wayne County NAACP 2024 Freedom Fund Dinner. October 20th, 2024. Our purpose, our power, our people. Save the date. BUF of Michigan 54th Gala Celebration. Friday, October 25th, beginning at 6 p.m. at the Motor City Soundboard, 2901 Grand River Avenue, Detroit, Michigan.
Let us support you in your event by adding it to our Stay Connected segments and encouraging community support. Visit www.dealswithbob.com or call us today.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to YouTube, search for Deals with Bob, and click the subscribe button.
And we're back. So, I asked before we left, integrity. Why?
So integrity is my number one core value, right? I'm going to always do the right thing. And if I'm ever doing the wrong thing, correct me and I'll make the adjustment, right? But that should be the goal. We should walk into relationships, whatever we're doing, with clean hands. I want the best for you in whatever it is that we're doing. And in doing that, I'm going to be where I say I'm going to be. I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. And I'm going to follow through with everything that we said. And if everybody did that, then we all win, right? Mm-hmm. So the goal is to lead that way. That's where integrity comes from, right? Go with integrity. So the when we talk about building relationships and connecting with people, I need to trust that you are who you say you are, right? And that's where the integrity comes in. And I'm not going to try to get over. I'm not going to tell you one thing and to do something else. The goal is I want the absolute very best for you. And if I can do something about it, I will. And this is how we build real relationships. This is how you can build a real network. This is how we can change the world.
I love it. I love it. And as you also may have noticed on that tagline, it said there's more to sales than selling. And as you know, throughout this conversation, Jason has made that quite obvious that sales is not about really selling. It's about connections and valued relationships and really providing a service to meet a need that someone has. And sometimes a need that people may not even recognize that they need yet. So it's really interesting. But if you're in relationship and connection with people, you're able to recognize like, hey, yeah, you need this. You just don't realize you need it yet, right? So awesome. Now it's like tea time. So for those who don't know, I got a little tea for you to spill. And I want you to share about what you just recently added to your repertoire.
So this is the mad scientist session, right? So I've been called a mad scientist for a while because I go into a weird place when it's time to work, and I don't ever stop working. I'm constantly thinking about how we can make it better, how we can improve, and Science coined the phrase of that I make monsters, right? So that's what mad scientists do. So I have a mad scientist session that I offer now, and you can either do 1 hour or 2 hours, and let's dive into your business. Let's have a conversation about where you are, what's working, what's not working. Let me take a look at your website. Let me look at your whole customer journey, and see what we need to tweak. And if you need some coaching, we can go from there. If some people, they just tell me the thing, and then I'll go do the thing, and I'll come back and you tell me another thing, right? So this is just my way of meeting people where they are. But let's sit down for a little while and let's dig into it. And you don't have to commit to, 12 weeks of coaching or a year of coaching. It's just let's jump in there and let's kind of assess where you are. And I guarantee you in this hour, 2 hours, whichever you choose, you're going to have a whole lot of stuff to do. It's going to be a lot of ideas because I'm a mad scientist.
Yes. And so here's the thing. I always will step on the side of caution and warn you. If you're feeling comfortable, it's time for you to have a conversation with a coach because that means you need to start re-challenging yourself. That means that there's something deeper within now that you need to go. There's always a next level. And I know people's like, when now you're going to keep, why we got to keep going? Why we got to keep going? Here's the thing. You do not want the pace of sometimes this world goes quickly. When you get comfortable, you don't want the pace to change so fast that now you're trying to run and catch up and you never can. Hello, Farmer Jack. I'm just saying. Okay. So it's not about always going and going for more, but it's recognizing that you have to naturally challenge yourself to learn a little bit more, to do a little bit more, to be a little bit more reinventive, using new technology, whatever it might be. It's not saying that you have to I can't never enjoy where I'm at, or I'm always chasing after something. I'm not saying that. But I just want you to have the caution of understanding that, yes, allow the mad scientist to work and fill in some gaps here and there so that you stay solid and that there's no little holes that you don't recognize, because once they become bigger, you don't want to sink really fast. That's all I'm saying.
That makes a lot of sense from the standpoint too, that you need some outside eyes looking at what you're doing. Yes. For the same reason that you would go to a mechanic, right? You can know a lot about cars, and then you take it to the mechanic, and it's like you ain't got no oil, and it's like, oh, that's all it is. I thought I needed a whole new engine, right? So sometimes you need a professional eye to just take a look at it.
Yes, yes. Well, we are like in our 4 minutes before we close. I do want to say hello to CKH Technology Services. Not quite sure who that is. Maybe
That's
Jason knows.
shocking.
Oh, hey, Shaka, because he said, hey, Jason and Sonia. So I knew it was someone we knew, just didn't quite make the connection. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and make sure you share it. So, in our last few minutes, Jason, I need to know a few things. I need to know what keeps you encouraged. I need to know what book is on your nightstand or that you've recently read or would highly recommend reading. And then, of course, how can we connect with you and get in touch?
So I can name like 30 books. Let's keep with what we were saying and being authentic, right? So you need to understand who you are, and then there are a ton of books that'll kind of get you on that path. But one of my favorite is the Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. That book is fantastic. It's super short too, and it just gets you thinking in a way of, oh, okay. This is how it's supposed to go. That makes sense. Like, oh, okay. So, and things will start to line up for you a certain way. I'm sorry, I forgot what the second question was.
What keeps you encouraged?
What keeps me encouraged? I want to win 100% of the time. Every time we out here, I want to win. And I look at everything as getting closer to that W, right? So it even and then that win is a little bit sweeter after you take a couple of L's, right? So it's like, they knocked me down, but I'm still here. And I fell down again, I'm still here. I didn't even know I was supposed to do that part, but I'm still here, right? So that keeps me in it, and you know, it's a lot of people who count on me, so I'm not letting nobody down.
I love it. And then, of course, how can people connect with you?
I'm on everything you own. I'm Jason Integrity on everything. You can go to integritygo.com. You can go to jasonintegrity.com, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is that you use, I'm on here.
Okay, awesome. Now, as we're closing out the show, if there's anything that didn't come out during this conversation, what would you like to add before we go?
For everybody, come over to the Black Entrepreneur Group, to the B Group is fantastic. You know, we have a lot of dope conversations. We run masterminds. We have networking events, and we're on Facebook and LinkedIn, in addition to Alignable. So click the link. Everything is in there. Join us somewhere in there, and we'll pull you into the rest.
I love it. I love it. Well, for those who found this conversation enjoyable, believe me, every conversation is enjoyable. And next week, we're going to be having a conversation with Ishmael Terry, who is the founder of All for One nonprofit. They are doing some amazing, literally groundbreaking work in the city of Detroit. You would not want to miss that conversation. And if you haven't already done so, we have prompted you a few times. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very easy. When you're on YouTube, just do a search for Deals with Bob and click the subscribe button. While you're there, hit the notification bell so you will be notified every single time we go live. Now, I want to say, Jason, thank you again for being a guest on tonight's show. I definitely enjoyed this conversation, as I knew I would, but I do appreciate you being here. And for all of you that have tuned in again, I thank you too for joining in. Well, I am your host, Dr. Sonia Weaver. I encourage you to spend with purpose because your dollars do matter, and deal with Bob. Have an amazing night. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.